Police Constable Thomas Barrett, 226H, said that the last witness called his attention to the body of the deceased. He sent for a doctor who pronounced life extinct. Dr. T.R. Killeen of 68 Brick Lane said that he was called to the deceased and found her dead. She had 39 stabs on the body. She had been dead some 3 hours. Okay, we don't get the... Okay, her age was about 36 and the body was very well nourished. Yeah, she was fat. Witness has since made a post-mortem examination of the body. The left lung was penetrated in 5 places and the right lung was penetrated in 2 places. The heart was penetrated in 1 place and that would be sufficient to cause death. The liver was penetrated in 5 places, the spleen was penetrated in 2 places, the stomach was penetrated in 6 places. The witness did not think all the wounds were inflicted with the same instrument. The wounds generally might have been inflicted by a knife, but such an instrument could not have been inflicted one of the wounds which went through the chest bone. His opinion was that one of the wounds was inflicted by some kind of dagger and that all of them was caused during life. If this is the work of Jack the Ripper, he had 2 different types of knives and one might have been some sort of bayonet. Is he trying to test his anatomy skills or knowledge? You never know. Henry Samuel Tabram, 6, River Terrace, East Greenwich, husband of the deceased woman, said he last saw her alive about 18 months. Okay, so they won't live together. Okay.
The information excludes the murder of the first woman, Miss Smith. Jack the Ripper can't be the author of that crime.
That's true.
On the other hand, there are enough similarities to suggest he may be the killer of Martha Tabram.
Yeah.
I must go to the pet shop.
So you said. Let's use the map. It's quicker. It's like teleportation in 1888. Oh dear, I really
must
don't...
go to the pet shop.
Yeah, you said so.
Closed until further notice. Abraham isn't there. No luck.
Beep beep.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening, sir.
Do you know why Mr. Solomonovich's shop is closed?
No, I don't. Perhaps his cousin, the cobbler, knows. But I believe the police came to take his animals. I think that might have something to do with it.
When was this?
During the day. The kids you were with the other day were there, they told me. They just came by to ask for some cat's meat. They didn't have any money, but I gave them some anyway. Ah.
Is something wrong?
It's just that there was a little girl with them, the same age as mine. My little girl who went away with her mother, with the angels into the sky.
Oh dear.
Dr. Watson told me about your loss. Please accept my condolences. Would you like to talk about it? How did it happen?
The illness, sir. My poor little girl was in agony, and her face and body were ravaged by the disease.
Her face?
Yes, she looked like a ghost.
What illness was it?
Dr. Gibbons tried to explain when I took my little girl to see him, but I didn't understand. I'm sure that he was trying to insinuate it was my fault. I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I understand. Farewell. Let's go and see Dr. Gibbons.
Why not? He's not around here. Oh, yes, he is. It's good when you know where you are. Now, that guy didn't want to talk to Dr. Watson last time. Nothing to worry about.
Hello, Doctor. Do you remember me? I'm Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson's friend.
Oh, yes. Excuse the mess, but I am doing a bit of tidying.
I have come to see you about a Mr. Hardyman, a cat food seller by trade, who recently lost his daughter and wife.
Yes, I know him. A tragic story.
Actually, I was hoping you could tell me about the disease that took his daughter, a disease that would have attacked her face.
Well, to keep it short, we are speaking of syphilis, Mr. Holmes. You must certainly know that it is transmitted through intimate connections, and that the vast prostitute population here contributes to its inevitable progression. It destroys individuals by spreading through the body slowly. The most obvious symptoms can be found in the genitalia and on the face in the form of pustules or lesions. Sometimes this illness can destroy whole families. The father catches it from a prostitute, he transmits it to his wife, who in her turn passes it to the kids which she bears or nurses. These cases are numerous in the vicinity. Certain children, and this is the case of the little girl whom I won't name, suffer from an emaciation of the face which will, apart from predicting an imminent death, bring infamy upon the family.
Emaciation of the face?
Yes, what we sometimes call the pox. I will give you a photograph. One cannot be mistaken on the origin of such a face. The eyes seem to be void of lids. The nose is inexistent, as if it was cut off. And the cheeks are chiselled, as if cut with a knife. This loss of facial matter, this emaciation, is in this area often the gift from a father to his children.
Can I keep this photograph?
I should destroy it. But if it can remind you that one must sometimes think twice before giving in to physical attraction.
I always seem to find myself alone in such cases. Thank you, Doctor.
Totally true. Now this is also the way she looked, the last victim. Actually. Yeah. Right.
Let's go to the cobbler's.
Yeah, let's do that. It's not far. We don't need to use the teleportation. It's right down the corner. Mr. Cobbler. Having a bottle. Oh yeah, here he is.
Hello, Mr. Solomonovich.
Ah, Mr. Holmes. How are things with you?
I heard your cousin Abraham had a problem with his shop. What happened?
If I didn't know you well, I would tell you that it's Jewish business that doesn't concern anyone but the Jews. But as you have a little bit to do with it, you have the right to know what is going on.
Yes, please.
Would I have something to do with it?
Someone had seen Abraham telling you something and making big gestures near the Imperial Club. A vicious rumor quickly spread, and it has caused him great injustice. A slanderous denunciation attracted the authorities' attention to my cousin's shop. Abraham must be in the process of answering their questions.
Oh dear.
I did, indeed, speak with your cousin the other night. I'm shocked at the consequences of this discussion.
As I was saying, it's the story of the Jews. In the face of adversity, we are united, but amongst ourselves, it's like anywhere else. As soon as our people take a dislike to someone, for right or wrong, we can be without pity and quite cruel.
Yes, many of us. Oh, the old gate butcher.
This is all very worrying. Your cousin knows one, or rather two, of the men who were at the Imperial Club on the night of the Mitre Square murder. One of the two, a butcher in Aldgate named Joseph, is probably withholding information of the utmost importance. I must find this man. Perhaps you can help me.
But there are dozens of Jewish butchers around Aldgate, half of which must be called Joseph. And you know, Mr. Holmes, we Jews prefer to remain in the background of this murder business, this Jack the Ripper thing. All of London is pointing their fingers at us saying, it's a Jew who disemboweled these women. Our community is in great peril, you know. There was the business with Lipski and Leather Apron. I will see what I can do, but I don't promise anything.
I'd be extremely grateful to you.
Absolutely.
Very well. We may meet again, Mr. Solomonovich.
You are most welcome, Mr. Holmes.
I do hope so.
I've paced up and down Whitechapel enough. I should return to Baker Street in order to reflect on the new facts that I have discovered.
Yes, that could be useful. There is, however, some things that I think. If the murderer or someone else yelled Lipski, it's probably not a Jew who had murdered. Well, you never know. Let's get back to Baker Street. Oh, here's the red one. So that's the Aldgate ward of Aldgate. Okay, Aldgate Station. Yeah. Now, we'll listen to him and see if we can get anything else. Here he comes, Mr.
Hello, Holmes.
So what's it? You don't
Good day,
even-
Watson.
No.
Listen, Holmes, I know I should have got here sooner to give you a report on my research, but this case has led me to neglect my patients and my wife more than I care to admit. I've been able to sort things out over the last few days, and now I am ready to pursue this investigation.
You don't have to justify yourself, Watson. Whilst I do tolerate you as an observer, and despite your occasional help with more menial tasks, may I remind you that you are by no means an indispensable part of this case.
Oh, you tolerate me as an observer, do you? Oh, you're too much, Holmes. Well, Mr. Detective, despite my absence, I have been working on this case, putting my relationship on the line in the process. And I happen to have a confidential letter that only passed from one lord's hand to another. What it contains is extremely serious and concerns Dr. Tumblety and his collection of uteri.
Oh
Let
dear.
me see that.
Okay, let's see. Me lord, be hereby assured of my entire collaboration in the affair, to which I must reply, no one will be able to cast opprobrium on our institution or ourselves. It's a letter from the Luston hospitals, will you? Our eminent colleagues support our policies, and they won't cooperate with the police as long as the higher interests that we serve aren't menaced. As you mentioned, we must avoid having to explain to uncultured masses the exigencies of medical research. A general crisis of confidence will result in inevitable amalgamation that the press should hasten to create between this and the hideous murders committed in the East End. To this end, I tactfully evoked the rumour that you mentioned in your letter when I met you with my colleagues. It turns out to have grounds, and these are the specifics that I was able to obtain. 18 months thence, an American doctor in London did, in fact, contact certain hospitals. His approach was aimed at getting stocks of feminine genitalia, particularly uteri. He was motivated initially by the finalization of his research and of its publication. The doctor in question wanted to include a uterus specimen freshly conserved in formalin with each of the research dissertations sent to each of the colleagues involved. A large quantity was thus necessary, and this doctor proposed to buy each of the uteri for £20 each. Oh dear, that's really expensive. The hospital directors did not pay heed to these demands, of that I have been assured. Between you and I, my lord, who knows what strange consequences would have been followed these demands of the American doctor. The rumour of these unusual commissions made the tour of the hospitals in question at the time, and has spread to others since. Simple day labourers employed in our organizations considered that a gain of £20 could justify theft, perhaps worse. The identity of the doctor is unknown to me, but, based on the recall of one of my colleagues, this man had the most impressive references. But after a bit of research that I didn't find the existence of any publication with an eventual correlation on this or the other side of the Atlantic. The man left London shortly after this pitch, it would seem. I cannot help but think that he has perhaps returned to London and has found someone who might furnish him with what he is looking for. Oh dear.
Excellent. This American could turn out to be of great use to use.
That's right, and that's not all. I did some research and finally found an illness that affects the genitalia and can, in certain cases, cause facial symptoms resembling the mutilations seen on the last victim. It is called, would you believe,
Syphilis and the emaciation that can be seen in affected children. I have known that for days, Watson.
Really?
Listen, now you're already here, Watson, we may as well continue the investigation. Do you remember the map on which we established the area in which our killer lives? I think we should continue our study.
That might be interesting, yeah. Let's do that later on. Let's see, it's over there. But for now I need to drop my recording and we'll get back to this later on. Thanks for watching and we'll be back. Bye.